to do it. So
let's do it.
As you know, I think very highly of you, of what you've done with social media and your YouTube channel and things like that, and you've helped me out a bunch.
Yeah.
My stuff, you know, I'm just a hack, but I try harder than pretty much everybody else. That's why we've grown our following. But you and a lot of the other guys, I consider you younger guys that are a lot more professional with your YouTube channels and everything and stuff like that. So I want to talk about who Will Witt is. I want to talk about how WWP TV got started. Like, where did your passion for pulling come? And I think that'll stem off into, obviously, 2020, Ocala, Zellwood, you know, what you're doing in 2021. Just, you know, just a good basic conversation so people know who Will Witt is. You know what I mean? We see a lot of these names out there.
Mm-hmm.
I see WWP TV everywhere. I see Will Witt everywhere. But nobody really knows who you are unless you're on the East Coast and they've talked to you at a pool before, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
how did this all start, Will? What was the... Start at the beginning.
I will start at the beginning. I'm going to go back. Well, again, for those of you who don't know me, I am Will Witt. I grew up in Athens, Alabama. And anybody who's anybody in polling knows that Athens, Alabama is home to the Haneys. And they had their light limited super stock Cujo, JR, just an amazing bunch, amazing family, a bunch of pullers down there. And that was my passion. I loved going. We used to go to Tanner, Hazelwood, Lexington, Ardmore. I mean, if they were pulling, we were going. And it started out with my family, my mom, my uncles. We all went. My grandpa, you know. So that's what started. And then you fast forward a little bit, and then I get my college, my learning, my book learning, and I come up to Virginia, and I married a girl. We settled down, and we're here in Northern Virginia. And then so I got into the whole website development. You hush up over there. I got into the whole website development, and that kind of.
Is that the girl? Is that the girl?
Yeah, that was
That
her.
girl?
She's the one pounding away. I'm not working. She's pounding away on the keyboard. So anyway, so she made an honest man out of me, and we got a few kids and stuff. And it you know, it's one of those things, Jason. I was working a job, and that job was kind of ending, and you know, they gave me a little bit of a bonus to stay on, and you know, I was looking around, piddling my thumbs, thinking about some things to do, and you know, I got a little bit of a bonus. I started doing websites, you know, like I said. So I approached a local league and said, "Hey, who does your website?" Oh, by the way, I'd gone to several of their events, and I was a big fan. We went to our state fair, which is the largest. Not our state fair. We don't have state fair in Virginia. We went to our county fair, which is the largest in Virginia. Like 200,000 people go through the gates. So I went to mine because it was 15 miles down the road. And so I started going to the fair, started following Dragon Motorsports on the message board and on their website. And I said, I did websites, you know, and I thought maybe they could use a refresh. Called them up. They said, you know, like, why don't you come talk to us? You know, we don't need a website. We need a photo guy and a video guy. I'm like, photo and a video guy? I mean, that sounds like two people, you know. And they said that's what they needed. And so I said I would come on and be their videographer and photographer in 2013. And so that was 2012 we met. And then 2013 we got into it. And I started filming. Our first event was Craigsville 2013. And I just did Craigsville. First time I'd ever been back. So, you know, I loved Craigsville. That's where I started. I was actually supposed to start at Winchester at one of their super national polls that they had. And it just got rained out. But anyway, long story made short, I became their photographer and videographer and stuff like that. But I also did their website. So I started doing, you know, websites and trying to help out any way I could. And so we were hard at work doing that. And then I met this dude in 2016 named Jason Schultz at Beer Money out at Gordyville. And and you know, I don't want to say that was a defining relationship in my life, but I got to know the man behind Beer Money, and then you got to meet the man behind WWP TV, and it kind of just it's been a happy relationship. I think. I mean, speaking on my side of the table, because it brought exposure to a lot of Clint's fans, Clint Tucker and Temple, they go way back. So it's brought Dragon Motorsports kind of into the forefront, and it's allowed a lot of these guys to go out there. You know, like Steve Flint goes out there, Mark Smith, Matt Smith, all those interstate guys. You know, because we don't just cover Dragon Motorsports, we cover interstate truck and tractor pullers. We cover the Mountain Boys Motorsports. We cover. We help out UPOC when our schedule's clear. We help out. We contract with the NTPA for their video services and live streams. So we go and we cover on a non-corona year. We'll cover anywhere between 60 and 70 events a year, without even breaking a sweat. And that I consider event each time a session starts. You know what I mean? So if we go to Keystone, well, that's 4 events in one. Okay, the whole thing is a weekend, but that each session is what I consider an event. And that leads me, I kind of got paired up a few Keystones back with Brian Caparelli. And this kind of leads into the Ocala Winter Nationals. Brian, I filmed his maiden voyage of his Stretch to the Limit New Holland. And so I kind of got to see the behind the scenes at Forester New Holland up in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And then we went up the road and filmed it in Harrisonburg. And so, our interstate guys, they get mad at us if we don't go to Keystone, and we love going to Keystone. It's a wonderful event. We need to figure out a way to get 4 ones in there just for a year, just so you guys from the West can come and see what's what. But it's an amazing event. I think there's more iron at that thing than any other event indoors. Gordyville puts on a lot of tractor iron. Okay, and there is no joke about that. Gordyville is off the chain, but Keystone is every bit as much on both sides. You got the truck guys and you got the tractor guys, and so it's one of those things that it's become a huge event. And so we started filming last year at Keystone, and day one, the governor shut it down. So we got to film one session and one session only. So it is what it is. But that's Will Witt. That's what I do. And now I run, WWP TV. I run pollingchurch.com. I just launched a new website called 4450, which is all about the John Deere 4450, as far as merch and things like that. So I'm doing all these things, graphic design, shirts, anything a poller can need. And I'm about to start to get into calendars, building calendars and stuff like that. So what I want to talk about is Zellwood, which is the first time. They've done it before at Zellwood.
Yes. Yep.
It's an outdoor event, and it's a big time antique event. But we're going to caveat that they want to take it to the next level. So they're bringing in some heavy hitters. They're bringing in some blown mini rods. They're bringing in. Can I just read it off?
Absolutely.
Antique.
This is your show, baby.
Oh, hey, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take all the airtime I can get. Okay. Antique tractors, garden tractors, turbo tractors, diesel trucks, street trucks, modified 2-wheel drives, 4-wheel drive trucks, blown minis, as well as non-blown minis, and we call those the Florida mini rods. And the Florida mini rods they're just amazing. I know the Leprechaun came down and pulled at Ocala last year. Megan and her crew. So I mean, those are some unique machines, and I don't want to say they're budget. I hate the word economy or budget friendly, but it is not going to break your budget to get into one of those. And Rob Rasnacki, he told me one time, he said, Will, most of these mini rods can be built with stuff that you have just laying around in your garage. And now, I fast forward a few years since he told me that, polling components have gotten a little bit more advanced and things like that, and they want the bigger gearboxes, and they want a strong chassis, and something's going to flex with them, and it's not gotten out of hand, but it's pretty close, when they look at some of those things. But those Florida mini rods, they put on a show, and it gives you a chance to hear some V8 and some V6 going at it, based on what the budget of the puller can afford. Also, lastly, we're going to have multi-engine modified tractors, and this is put on by Rob Resnacki, the Florida Polars, and Rob Waller. Rob Waller has actually, I got a Polar card in my hand, but he's got a Hog Waller two-wheel drive that is absolutely beautiful. It's gray and all this stuff. And Rob asked for me to come down and film this by name, and so I'm going to Zellwood. Basically, I'll be down there 2 weekends in a row, and like I said, we've already reached, I don't know, 20,000 for each pull, doing some advertising that we do, and then we've already reached 20,000 people for the Ocala pull. So don't know that we're gonna see 20,000 people, but we anticipate that we're gonna grow that event. And Ocala has grown to where it is, I want to say about 2,000 people on Friday night and about 5,000 people without even thinking about it on Saturday night. I mean, they pack them in there. And for those of you who don't know about Ocala, it's an indoor pool, but they ain't got no smoke tube. It's all just diesel smoke and you know, the best two-wheel drives and minis and super stock trucks. I mean, light limited super stock. I mean, it's got some action. And the way that they get away with it, they used to have, you know, Glade buggies. You know what I mean? Like those Everglade buggies, and they would turn the fans on in between hooks to blow the air out of the arena. So fast forward a few years down the road, and they now have ventilation up in the ceiling that kind of sucks the smoke out of the building. The engines that run that, the vacuums are real loud. Like you could stand next to someone, you could barely hear them. Okay, but they're working on that, and now they're running one diesel class at Ocala. It's the 8,000-pound light limited turbos, we call them. And we got Larry Richwine announcing that event. He loved it. He wants to come back. He's coming back. You're obviously coming down. It is a really unique place. You got the Spanish moss on the trees. You got all these guys and gals camping out and cooking up some good food. And they take care of the Polars. There's an amazing meal on Saturday, and it's just this is an amazing experience to see that many people and that type of arena without a smoke tube, and it's absolutely amazing. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on. The first pull of the Zellwood pull is January 22nd and 23rd, and both of these events start at 6 p.m. There will be antiques rolling all day at that Zellwood Super Pull, though. So they're going to try to shut down the garden stuff right at the time of 6 p.m. And then we're going to go into what we call the big show, where it's the minis and the big sled pulling on two tracks. And then the third track is also going to be, I think, the garden tractors or something like that. So it's going to be a lot of action. And we're going to do our best to live stream and make some good photos and take some video and blast those out there so we can help them grow that. And that's on the 22nd and 23rd of January. Next weekend, we have Ocala. We call it the Ocala Winter Nationals. It's the 29th. We moved it up a week, the 29th and 30th at 6 p.m. Now, like I said, look, we got already over 100 pullers. Everybody wants to come to this thing. Everybody wants to make a run. And it's just packed. In order to get done by the 11 o'clock curfew, they've got all the pullers they need. So what we need every man, woman, and child to get to Ocala on that Friday night and pack it in. But I'm going to tell you, you might even be able to reserve your seat for Saturday if you get to knowing all the people around you. But I'm telling you, it's an amazing event. You got plenty of merch, plenty of good food. Boiled peanuts if you like that. Good, really good food. And then Ocala, the tractor pullers down there, they have a nice set of merch. So that's going to be the 29th and 30th. What they're going to have 6,000-pound non-blown two-wheel drive, 2,050-pound blown mini rods, 6,200-pound blown two-wheel drive trucks, 5,200 pro stock two-wheel drive trucks. Now I think this is the Rob Waller class that I was telling you about. And then we're going to also have the Florida mini rods on that event, and then the 6,200 pro stock four-wheel drive trucks. I've also called them super stock four-wheel drive trucks, but they're the same. 6,200 pro stock four-wheel drives. We'll just leave it at that. And then we're going to have the light limited super stocks running at 6,250 pounds. And then we're going to have 7,500 pound modified tractors. We actually had to turn people away. I mean, there are some good pullers that had to be turned away to come into this thing. So it's going to be it's going to be a horsepower show. Like, this is a horse arena, but we're bringing some horsepower to this little place. I'm telling you. And then we're going to have.
What's exciting, Will, about Florida? I mean, I didn't realize the tradition or the history.
Oh yeah.
Of the old NTPA winter circuit
Yep.
until I did a podcast with Rich Wine. So
right.
I mean, the fans, and I seriously, and you see our messages at Beer Money as well. Both of us get, I get a lot. When are you coming to Texas, or when are you coming to Florida?
Oh my gosh.
So that I see that, that's a general question a lot. So really want to make sure that people know, okay, we're coming to Florida in January. There's going to be 2 pools, and you need to either get to Ocala or you need to get to Zellwood. So.
There's a really depressing website out there called Let Me Google That For You, where you literally just type in any name, your state, type in Virginia tractor pulling, okay? And you're going to come up with Dragon Motorsports. You're going to come up with a Central Virginia tractor pullers. You're going to come up with Mountain Boy Motorsports. You're going to come up with a Davidson Motorsports. They just came out of Richmond this year. Where they're doing the garden pulls. You got Shenandoah pullers. You got interstate truck and tractor pullers. Google your state's name / truck pulling or tractor pulling, and I guarantee you're going to come up with 3 or 4 different pages. You're going to come up with 3 or 4 different websites. And when people say, well, there's no tractor pulls near me in Georgia. Okay. Half these guys that are going to be at the Ocala and Zellwood are coming from Georgia. You got Tyler Cobb, a Grand National 4-wheel drive guy coming out of there. You got Rod Stoll. You got a whole bunch of pullers. Who was it? Patrick? I forgot his first name. Paul. The Dust X Cyclone comes out of Georgia, and then you got the light limited super stock guys like what's the name? The guy with the John Deere that's really big down there. I forgot his name, but there's a whole bunch of pullers down there in Georgia, and if you just Google Georgia pulling, which I did, you come back with 4 or 5 different associations, and that's how you get involved. You go to an event, you like their page, you share photos. Whenever they post a photo, we always tell promoters, hey, post your photos. Well, when they do, the fan needs to share that stuff and tell their. You got to tell people what's going on in your life. Otherwise, is it really happening? And then what else do we have, Jason? We got Gordyville coming up. I don't know if I'm coming out to that. That's a lot of leave, a lot of ask for me to come out to Gordyville. But that's coming up the week before Zellwood, actually. And then the other event that weekend was going to be the Big Daddy Motorsports one in Williamston, but the governor already shut that one down. So I think that's going to be a lot of what you see this year too in 2021. I don't want to get political. I'm not going to do that, but I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of these events get shut down. So Google your local website, league, Facebook page. We're going to try to have as much on WWP TV and Beer Money as possible, but still do some research and find out what's in your area, because that's how I became who I am. I just, went to a county fair. I had fun. I took my family, and then I called them up, the next Monday or whatever, and I got involved. That's how I got into this stuff, because I was curious. I didn't even know what a wheel standing mega truck was, and that's the reason I got associated and attached with Dragon Motorsports, because I asked the question, what in the world is a wheel standing mega truck? I was blown away, because I grew up watching Bigfoot when I was a kid, and the tank tracks, I forgot whatever its name was, and I remember those things. I used to go to Huntsville on the Civic Center. I was there. So I grew up watching this stuff. And then when I saw the wheel standing mega trucks, my goodness. You're talking about big block Lee Edwards racing engines, 600 cubic inch in these things. and they don't even get off the ground. They don't even keep the front wheels on the ground. They get up and they put on a show. And that's the one question we hear all the time. How come they don't put no weight on it? Well, it's an exhibition class. They ain't trying to go for, a record-setting pull. They're going to put on a show and get that front end up off the ground. So that's
I
what
think people forget. I think people forget about the Orange Blossom Special.
they do.
The Bud King or what was the Budweiser truck with the two blown Hemis in it?
Well, it was called the Bud Boss, wasn't it? Or
yeah, the Bud Boss.
and one of them had 6-wheel drive on that thing. Did you see that? But they forget about how that was the cool stuff. And those guys back in the day, they were charting a course for what we're doing today. They might not realize it, but they were setting the course, and it was televised. I don't know if there was a John Murray or a Andrew Wilson or a Will Witt at these events. But I'm telling you, I mean, I was watching that stuff on ESPN just like everybody else was, and I couldn't get enough of it because back then you only had 6 channels. One of them was ESPN. You're always watching it.
Yeah.
But then
the one thing, well, like as a promoter, and for lack of a better term, I'm going to use the word gimmick. A monster truck. We've had monster trucks in Richland Center.
Right.
We've had school buses hooked to the sled. You have that video of the Uncle Eddie's, her cousin Eddie's
the Griswold's hooker, I call it. Yeah.
The Griswold hooker, but that's the stuff. That's the stuff that people remember. So my point is, promoters need to remember that you got to have a little fun. You got to have a little bit of showmanship. I love it when the guy, they take an old truck out there that's ready to break in half, and 4-wheel drive, and as soon as it hits it, the front of it takes off down the track with the front wheels. But that gets the kids excited, and a lot of the pullers are like, oh, that's stupid or that's a gimmick. But remember, we're putting on a show and we're trying to entertain. And have an Orange Blossom Special there.
Right.
With the old, 7,200-pound modifieds, because I watched all that stuff too, or the diesel supers or the Alki super class. That's the stuff that people remember. That's what makes you come back.
Well,
that pull was awesome.
And just so you guys know, I mean, a regular, I don't even want to call it a brush pull, but a local regional pull around here is going to cost a promoter $10,000 in purse. Maybe $2,000 for a sled rental and a backup if he really wants one. It's going to cost him $14,000-$15,000 before anything even happens. Before even the event is cast. That's what you're looking at. So they want. I mean, I tell promoters all the time, how much sponsorship money do you have in it? Are you covered? Are you covering your costs and sponsorship before the event even happens? Because even if one person comes through the gate, you're still making money.
Yep.
And so, that's what I try to do is hey, look, I got an event that needs a sponsor. Who can help me? And I might give $500 on behalf of PollandShirts.com, or I might waive my fee for this one or that one, especially if some promoters, they don't have the Facebook prowess that we do. It's tough. It's tough for a team to get a sponsorship, let alone a promoter. And everybody hates to ask for money, especially. I asked for sponsors this year, and I got lambasted by several people. Why would you do that in a COVID year? Well, advertising is advertising. If you have a business that can grow, why wouldn't you ask or try to give someone the opportunity to reach, I don't know, 15,000 a person a post? We got some videos that they're pulling 12 million, 13, 14 million views. You can't put a price on that type of advertising. And I've had people call me from Indiana, all kinds of places out west. Hey, look, I really want to be on your videos and stuff like that. And look, we got a budget. Whatever your budget is, we can accommodate. We'll get you on there. So I think that shaming needs to go away. Okay, we got to live our lives. COVID-19 happened. Okay, but there's a guy out there, there's a lady out there who's got a business that can grow. Okay. And if it's remotely as cool as the sport of truck and tractor pull, we need them. We need them. We need them so that we can help get their message out, and we can help grow not only the event but the leagues. And hey, if they want to throw some stickers on a vehicle, we can call that a contingency. And $2,500 later, we can put stickers on all these vehicles and give them some purse money at the end of the year. So there's an opportunity to grow any business if you are not offended by a bunch of I hate to say rednecks, but a bunch of motorsports enthusiasts like us. They're probably more willing to buy your product if we know that you're associated with this event.
Forrest Lucas is no dummy, okay? And look what he did.
Right.
He started his own pulling league. You know, think of the eyes that that's now one of the arguably bigger than the NTPA. And I don't want to get into that either. And honestly, I don't care. But it's it's definitely one of NTPA outlaws and from a national level that I see. You know what I mean? So I mean that's smart. That's smart. And I guarantee he's selling a lot more Lucas Oil products to farmers than he was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Sure. Well, Angry Farmer came out of nowhere. I mean, look, it wasn't a few years ago. I'd never heard of Angry Farmer. Now, good grief, I'm telling my Meineke guy about, hey, have you considered Angry Farmer a penetrating spray? I mean, stuff's supposed to be amazing. I'll help anybody. I will help anybody. And like I said, I got a couple of checks here from some of my sponsors today. They're amazing. People want to take care of us. Look, I'll never have to buy a set of tires the rest of my life because the guy does not want me to buy a set of tires. He wants to take care of my tires because that's what he can do. So I help out Big L any way I can. I'll help you out, and I'll bend over backwards trying to help grow your social media because that's what we've been able to do for Dragon Motorsports, with WWP TV, Beer Money. All these fine leagues exist and are growing and are thriving because someone cared about it. Someone took the time and said, "This is cool. I want to share my cool with all my friends." And that's
the biggest thing is we stuck with it. I started Beer Money in 2012 or 2013, and a lot of people get into it for 6 months to a year, and they realize how much frickin' work it is to maintain all these pages, and then they get kind of like, well, whatever, you know what I mean, and then it goes away. But you and I, and your buddies with these big YouTube pages have stuck with it. And it's been great for the sport of pulling, and a lot of those guys are, it's either a hobby, a really good side hustle, or it's become a full-time job for them.
Yeah.
And YouTube is still the biggest time suck. You can go on there and just get lost for hours.
Yeah.
And it's Facebook's biggest rival.
Well, I
take a lot of stuff out there. It's fun.
No, it's great. And look, our YouTube audience is strong. 75,000 we're looking at. I mean, we're one of the larger in the world. I'm not going to say we're the largest because there's one guy I'm chasing, like a dog on a bone. I'm telling you, I'm going after this guy, and I'm really trying to give my best. I'm trying to put the best effort possibly into my videos. I made the commitment. I made the financial commitment. Do you mind if I say how much we were in the hole covering this sport?
Just say we were.
We were in the hole substantially covering this sport, and she said she didn't want the amount to get out there. But look, I say this all the time: Sheets does not take passion. Okay, if Sheets took passion, I'd never have buy a drop of gas in my tank. Okay, but Sheets needs money. And so, look, I try to do everything I can to bring in as much as possible. I try to work with promoters, put sponsor logos on there. I try to do as much as I can for the sponsor and then reward them with a high quality product that they can be proud of for 15, 20 years from now, and people are going to look back. And that's why I put the names on the videos. I know not everybody does that. The reason I did that is Kevin English, the gambler, V8 modified tractor, he told me, Will, I can't remember my name half the time. I need to know who I was pulling against at X event, back in 2012 or whatever. He said, I just don't remember. And he says, I love seeing my name on there and seeing my distance and seeing my rivals and seeing my buddies that have passed on, because it's hard sometimes to keep heads and tails of things, and that's why we do it. It does take work. It does take time. But like I said, I love it. I enjoy it. I love helping these pulls out like Ocala. And then, Jason, do you mind if I talk about Keystone? Because we don't really know what's going on.
But I want to talk about it. I just want to talk about pulling. The big thing is I just want to make sure we covered. I want to make sure my followers know who you are.
Right.
And then I also wanted to talk about Florida, but I knew this would just go down a worm tunnel of truck and tractor pulling, and that's what it's all about.
Right. Well, like I said, I mentioned and alluded to Keystone earlier. Keystone Indoor Nationals is it's a premier event, and it's kind of got the I don't know whose mold. I think Ocala has the Keystone mold, and I could see Ocala. Me and Brian Caparelli were talking about this just about a week and a half ago. We could see Ocala being a Thursday to Saturday type of event where you have a finals and all that stuff. I think it could very well happen because it's got that Keystone mold where you got a whole bunch of competitors that you spread out from a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday final session. But that's what Keystone does. That's their flavor. They have pro stock not pro stock 4x4s. They got 62 national modifieds. They got 10,000 pound 200 pro stocks. Is that what you're calling them? 10-2 pro stocks?
Yes.
They have those. They have diesel super stocks, Alki super stocks, modified tractors, the same 7,500 pound modified tractors that are Ocala. They have the big block minis. They have the blown minis. They've been doing that on a invitational basis. They got my favorite, one of my favorites. Well, it's the tractor I was going to build for the class. It was the 7,700 light limited turbo class, and there used to be, Jason, I'm not even kidding. There used to be 16, 17, 20 tractors in that class. And the numbers kind of dwindled, and we're now settled into the 12, 13, 14 range. And Interstate opened it up to match the Dragon rules. So you got P pumps coming up from Virginia and Maryland going to interstate events and to the Keystone event because they got the turbo figured out. But one of the most exciting classes besides the 7,700 is the 8,500 pound mod turbo. And it kind of parlays into the 8,500 pound light pro stock, but we keep them separated, okay? Because there's a power difference. I think if mod turbos run a 23 max 100 horsepower, whereas you tell me how much a light pro stock is. It could be.
I think some of them are touching the high twos to low threes now.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Every dyno's different.
And the only guy that you won't hear that out of is a light pro stock puller because they ain't gonna they don't want to reveal their hand. But I've heard some numbers of 3,200, but I've heard everything beyond that is starting to break down. So they want to break it down, bring it back to a place where they're reliable and they're not breaking parts and stuff like that. But you got the guys like Jeff McLaughlin who had the demented Case Puma that moved up to light pro stock. It was a light limited, and now look at that thing. And awesome. Yeah, and if you build for the light limited, you can go into a light pro stock, no problem. If you got room in the under the hood, you can make that work. You might have to billet some of your parts, but it's good stuff. Okay, they used to run 2-wheel drives, but they don't run 2-wheel drives anymore. But it is a good indoor truck and tractor pull event, the Keystone Nationals. I just don't know what's going to happen. And if I had the all-seeing ball to say what's the polling season going to look like in 2021, I just don't know. I think most of these events are going to transition to privately held land. And I think it's a good idea that you start shopping around events right now because it might not have affected your event this year. But I have a feeling it's going to start affecting a lot of events. And I've talked to some promoters, and I said, what do you think about 2021? It does not look great. So what I did this year for 2020 in COVID is I worked with promoters, and I talked to them. What's the healthcare professionals say? What's the sheriff's saying? Well, we have to reduce capacity. Well, what's your capacity? How many people can you take, and do we need to do any advertising to make sure you hit that metric? Because if they're at 4,000 people and they can only take 2, they need every 2,000 people possible to make that event happen. Otherwise, they'll lose their shirt, And so I think that's what 2021 is really going to look like. It's working with a county health official, a sheriff or a deputy or something like that to figure out, hey, what's going to happen? What are our guidelines here that we have to, restrictions that we have to abide by? And then, do you have the hand sanitizing stations? Do you have enough porta johns or outdoor, restrooms to accommodate all your guests? And we had an event this year. And we came back from the county health official said, hey, look, everything's great. You just need more signs. And it was packed. I'm telling you, if there was 3,000 people at this event, I'd been lying. But that's the only thing that the county health official says. I'd just like to see more signs out here. It said, hey, maintain social distancing. But they looked at the crowd. They didn't say anything about the crowd. They just said, we need more signage. So if you work with these people as a promoter, I think, hey, look, it might cost you $300 or $400 at Kinko's or Office Depot or whatever, but do it. It's worth it because if you get the green light, you can go forward with your event and put on a superior product, but you got to talk to the right people. Don't think that you can just do it and, oh, we're going to skirt it, or we're going to have two locations, or it's tough, and I don't want to see any promoter go to jail because they weren't abiding. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not that, we're like, oh, well, COVID-19, that's all jacked up anyway. Well, it doesn't want personal opinions aside. When someone's butt's on the line, that's a whole nother thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is. Yep.
And I mean, some businesses could lose their liquor license. Some businesses could lose their tax status. Okay, and you tell me, for a fire department or EMS, something like that. I mean, if they lost that status as a nonprofit, I mean, it would no longer be a volunteer fire department, or whatever. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that in the future, more than anything else. There may still be some cancellations, but talk to me about Wisconsin. I mean, obviously, I didn't know, but Virginia's been a blue state now for a time, and there was still polling in Virginia this year. Talk to me about Wisconsin. What do you think about Wisconsin for as far as 2021?
I think it's gonna, I think this vaccine, if the vaccine works and crowds are allowed to gather again, you're gonna see the fairs come back. All of our fairs in Wisconsin, I would say 98% of them are owned by the government. The fairgrounds. So
right.
they're not gonna let crowds gather if things aren't whatever kosher out there in the world. But if not, we'll see a ton of we'll see a full polling season, but it'll be on private property, like you said. Highland, Wisconsin, is this little town south of Richland Center, that normally had 500 people at it, and this year they added the Badger State classes. There's a lot of Badger State pullers in there. They ran out of wristbands at opening. They had 3,500 wristbands, and they were out of them at 7 o'clock, and then more people came through the gate. So, polling will happen. It's just going to be, it will be association-wise or not. I interviewed Kurt Van Beek from the Outlaws. They were in some states. The Outlaws happened to be in some states that weren't as, COVID.
Right.
But like my dad's in Iowa, and he's in eastern Iowa, and their local health officials said, if you have this tractor pull, I'm going to stand on the middle of the track and not let anything come down the track. But if you go 4 hours west, they were letting 4,000 or 5,000 people gather. You know what I mean? Outdoors. So, at the end of the day, nobody wants to get sued. Nobody wanted to get in trouble. It was just a cover your ass thing, is what most of this has been. And I agree that COVID's real and you can get sick. I'm not denying any of that at all. It's clearly like that. But I think we're going to have a 2021 season. I think the winter season's going to be iffy, just because until this virus gets out, people are comfortable. Not the virus, the vaccine gets out,
right?
And they're comfortable with it. But I think Clint, with Shipshewana, that's a facility that, they're gonna ask you to wear a mask, I believe. But I don't think people are gonna care. You know what I mean? Like Clint said, we had him on Facebook Live the other night. Are they gonna have a mask Nazi in there?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think there will be nothing else going on that weekend. You said because the Kentucky one or the Tennessee one got canceled. Big Daddy.
Yep.
With that, I just think it's going to be a big one. Now the farm show got moved back to the end of March, early April.
I just saw that. Well, we were gonna get to that one, but that's a big one. That's a huge one. And you're talking about 50,000 people every day going through there. That's a lot. I mean, I don't know, for that whole week. I think that I heard someone like 4 or 5 million people were coming through there. It's crazy. But I agree with you. I know you got some face masks on your website. I know I do too on pollingchurch.com. I got face shields, neck gaiters. I hate those things. I hate them. I don't like them. I'm not making them because I like them and enjoy them. I make them because they're relevant to this time of life.
Yep.
And I was working with my t-shirt guy, and he said Gildan, hard to find because they're making face masks left and right. My buddy, he runs a moonshine business. It's legitimate, but he said he's made more off of hand sanitizer than ever he's made off of moonshine. And so a lot of these businesses are getting smart about how to make money and what they can do, what they can't do, what they, what kind of buyer they can get into. But we got to resume our lives, and I think, people want something to do, and that's why Eagleville, that was such a huge success because everybody's looking for something to do, and I heard that was an amazing. They shot like a music video down there and all kinds of crazy stuff. But
Yep.
I got called by Pure Horsepower to come down there with them. I kind of chickened out at the last second. I wish I had just gone and helped the New Holland Superstock crew. And that's my big thing that I didn't do this year. I probably should have done that and just said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Uh, I didn't, but Jay, I don't think. I mean, I think Poland's going to come back. I think the economy is going to come back even stronger if we could kind of get out of the way of it. And I don't want to make it political. I really don't. You vote how you feel. But there are some people that don't like motorsports, and that's kind of why they wanted to sign the RPM Act of 2019, was to further uh, uh, keep motorsports safe, and instead of being targeted. Because I think you just heard the lawsuit in 2019 against it was some diesel outfit out west, and it was a huge lawsuit, and no one wants to lose their business, okay, because of that kind of stuff. But if they're making diesel performance products, what's to say they're not going to shut down any of our favorites one? I don't even want to say the name of it because
Yeah.
I don't want them to be a target, But I know there's plenty of awesome businesses out there that I don't want to see go away just because they're targeted. And so I think you need to talk to your congressman and ask them to help push this RPM Act of 2019 through. And then think about the events that you want to do and the livelihood that you want to live. And if that lines up with your guy that you want or gal that you want to vote for, do it. Go for it and have some conviction about it. But like I said, it could be tough for a while, and we just don't know how long.
It will be. It will be. I don't think there's anybody going to argue with that at all. So, but I think we'll survive too. I definitely do.
We have a survivability. I know you mentioned something about the herd. The herd. We are a herd. We are strong as Americans, and the American spirit has not wavered. I'm telling you, you might think you might have masked us or silenced us, but you have not. Look, if we got to go in and get our Swiss for our hamburgers at the grocery store, we're gonna do what we got to do. Okay, we're gonna get our hamburger buns. We ain't gonna get our toilet paper, but we'll get our Swiss. We'll get our hamburger buns, and we'll come back and we're gonna have a party. Coors Light, whatever. We're gonna live. We're gonna figure out how to do that. My mom, she's 82 years old. I'm worried for her, but she's in a place where, I send her, well, I don't want to tell you what I'm sending her for Christmas, but she's gonna get some Omaha. And then I told her, hey, listen, I want you to be safe. And they're older, they're 82 years old, and I want them to be safe. Well, I'm 44, okay? I feel young. I feel like I'm 30 years old still. But I've got the right blood type. I'm O, so I'm not affected by COVID. I honestly, if you ask me, I think we all had it back in January of last year.
There's a lot of people had it at Louisville. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm telling you, and I believe I had it. But like I said, for me, it was three days, and I was back up. I slept it off.
It's a bad flu.
Oh, it's a really bad flu. And, what was it? The flu is going to kill 4.5 million people. Who knows how many it's going to kill this year, because I think the stats are being skewed. But look, I don't want to get into the nerdery too much on that kind of stuff because I do want to talk polling. And I think we've got how much more time do we have?
We can go as long as you want. I have to get home eventually to see my daughter for her birthday.
Well, it's pizza mood.
We can also record, we can do another one this weekend, or we can do one a week. I like talking like this just to get different people's opinions and get people talking, and that's what it's all about. Get people talking and promoting and different things like that. So
This has been live streamed on TikTok, not on YouTube for some time, ever since we started. But it will probably parts of it will go to Facebook. I'll share the crap out of this as soon as we're done. But yeah, I enjoy talking to you. I honestly, I don't want to say that 2016 was a huge year, but we both exploded right after we met. And I think it was because I started treating my business like a business. Okay, I got laid off in 2018 I wasn't laid off. We just lost our contract, and I I started thinking about what do I want to what do I want to do with my life, and I started thinking about the legacy and all the guys, all the fans, all the gals that love what we do. We even got kids that come on and say, "Man, hey, can you show me my dad's run?" Yeah, yeah. Give me a few days here. Let me get some time. That's the only problem is I just don't have enough time. I'm very busy. And so I'm trying to figure out how do I life hack this. Do I deprive myself of sleep, or do I try to perfect the 25-hour day, as they say? But
Yeah,
I
no, trust me, I go through the same mindset because like I have so many ideas and not enough time. So
well, I think the website Fiverr was for us. Let's just hire people to do these menial tasks, and you do that, and we'll call it a day. But like I said, I hate being talented, but I use whatever talents I do have for the sport. If I got graphic design in my and I'm not doing it for the sport, I'm not really appreciating it. If I have photography and I'm not using it, I feel like I got all this camera gear literally just sitting here doing nothing. And we're at the end of the polling season, obviously, right now. But we're not even having a banquet right now. We should have already had our banquet. We can't because the regular meeting place we can't meet at. So who knows what's going to happen? I mean, I think I've heard people moving their banquets back a little bit.
yes,
So that's a trend too. You're going to see some of that stuff moving back events to accommodate when a facility that you prefer can have your event for you. So, um, what are you guys doing as far as banquet?
yeah, there's no banquets for Badger State or anything like that. We had our rules meeting last weekend. The people that needed to make decisions had to get together and take it from there. But I think just like you, nobody wants to get anybody sick, and just kind of waiting this thing out. And right now, it's a good time to kind of be patient, see what happens, and enjoy our family for the holidays, and then head to Gordyville,
Right.
January 14th through the 16th, and in Florida. So
Well, I know a super fan for both you and me, Nick Stepik. He says our events, our polls have saved his holidays in the past, where he'll pull up an entire event. And I've got, I don't know, 50, 60 events where it's run after run after run. It's an entire event. And I started modeling that after another YouTuber that I saw. So I do class runs as well as full events. But you can pull those events up and go to your favorite one, and you can load those up on the smart TV and watch it with your friends and educate them while you're getting on some honey baked ham and all that stuff. Then you don't have to have any political arguments. You just sit back and watch some horsepower. So
yep,
that's
I
that.
love it.
Our fans love it, and they tell me they do it all the time. So that's why we do entire events. We need to do it. We need to get caught up, but we've just been really busy this year. But live streams have been good. We live when we can. We're about to invest in remote technology so we can have satellite everywhere we go, just to make sure that we got live stream ability and take care of our fans. And then there might be a thing where we continue with the Facebook monetization, and maybe do a $10 a month, watch all you want. And then whoever wants to come on can come on. They can even get paid by us to live stream events. You know what I mean? The only thing I did, this is the downfall. This is where YouTube kicks butt, is they don't kick your stream off after 4 hours. I've never heard of a tractor pull only lasting 4 hours. But that's the problem. It's where YouTube kind of excels in live stream and video. Their uploads are way faster. Their live stream is really robust. Their chat is really robust. I absolutely love that platform and their CDN for all that stuff. But yeah, Facebook could learn a lesson from YouTube. And I don't know when it affected beer money, but I think it was May 2019 we really took a hit financially from Facebook. I mean, they were really awesome up to 2019 May, and they changed something where they're not disseminating out to all our fans. So look, if you're hearing my voice, you got to find this stuff. You got to find us, because these companies are not sending you our stuff. If you're a follower, I got 500,000 followers. Jason has dang near 1 million followers. That's 1.5 million between the two of us, and I'm on the same team as Beer Money. But go there, go to the place. It should be like
you have to go to the page, and I've been trying to say that more. Where I go to Beer Money and WWP TV every day. I go directly to those pages to see what you posted. But most people go to their timeline and just scroll. What we're trying to say is they're not putting everything that we post on your timeline if you follow our page. So that's what we have to figure out. So.
And the other thing I've just noticed is I share a lot of videos and YouTube links to Beer Money group, as well as pull-in videos. Look, there is a group out there for every type of knucklehead fan that you are. If you like 4000 series John Deere, there's a ton of y'all out there on that page. There's a Farm All group. We're also part of the Orange Alice. What is that called? Our Orange group.
I did one, the Few, the Proud, the Orange.
The Few, the Proud, the Orange. Yeah, the Few, the Proud, the Orange. I mean, there's a group out there for everybody, And the thing I got caught by the other day is I shared a link probably to 12 different groups, and they were all relevant. Every group I shared it to was absolutely relevant, but they said it went against their community standards because I shared it to too many places.
Yep, I got in trouble for a big bucks contest on November 21st because people send me pictures of the deer that they shot, and there was a few guns in the pictures with the dead deer, and I got put in Facebook jail. So it's just like, you guys gotta be kidding.
Yeah, and I'm on MeWe. I'm on Vero. I'm on Parler. Parler and Twitter. I love they're so simple, but I don't really go there. I get things to my Twitter from Reddit, and I post to my Facebook from Instagram. TikTok posts to Instagram posts to Facebook. I try to get it into a place where I can streamline and post in several different places and hit all the different channels. But if you're a WWP TV fan, or if you're a Beer Money fan, or fill in the blank, whoever you're fans of, you need to be going to those pages and checking them out. And me, I like to give my YouTube fans a preemptive viewing, if you will, of all the stuff, because that family, they're amazing to chat with. They're gearheads just like me. We sit and we watch every new poll when it comes out together. We're chatting. I'm always chatting on that page. So like I said, it's an experience, to be there and watch something where you can actually ask questions and get them answered right then and there. And I do have a lot of pollers that get on my YouTube, they get on my TikTok, and they answer questions. And that's the biggest thing is if you have a question, ask that question. But kind of understand that, a lot of the questions we might be answering are the same questions we always get. But the sport is very unique. It used to be horse pulling and mule pulling, and it's become a mechanical mystery of all the type of equipment and sleds that it takes to stop them. And it's just one of the most fascinating things. I mean, I start talking about coefficient of friction and the downforce and the width and the height, the depth, the length of the pan and the grouser bars. And I start getting into talking, using terms like coefficient of friction, and I get out my slide rule when I start talking about all this stuff. Look, it's advanced. It's one of the most highest horsepower motorsports on the planet. It's very cool. You can get up close and personal in the pits. You can talk to them. And I know you guys do this a lot, where you put kids on your tractors. And on behalf of a lot of my pullers, ask if it's okay that you can do that, because some guys, they don't even want you to touch their paint job, because the paint jobs cost a lot of money, and you might not know if it's a paint job or if it's a wrap. Just ask. Don't just touch it and assume. Ask if you can do it, or climb up in the seat. I'm sure they'll let you. Most of them will, but you just ask. Hey, well, is this a paint or is this a wrap? And they'll tell you. They'll more likely they'll show you the scars to the thing too. But just don't assume that it's your own vehicle and you can do it. Just be cordial and go up to them and say, hey, do you mind if I put my kid up in this seat and take a picture? More likely they would bend over backwards to help you, and tell you, hey, just don't touch this, don't touch that. You can hold the steering wheel, you know what I mean, but don't under any circumstance push this button, And if you do that, you're going to come away with some lasting memories. And that's kind of how I got into drive a semi last year. Is I was just talking to a puller, and they said, "Do you want to drive it?" I'm like, "What?" And they said, "You can drive a manual." Yeah, I'm like, "Yeah, I can drive a manual." Well, this is no different. I'm like, "There's a lot more gears. I've seen more gears on them somehow." He's like, "No, it's not that many gears on this one." And look, if I had never done that, I mean, I would have never been wee 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 screaming all the way down the track. I mean, it was a rush. I'm telling you. But I've had pullers comment on that "Go for a Ride" in a semi video more than any other thing, because they said they never hear other pullers talk about how to pull their vehicle. And it was a unique experience to hear a puller tell a newbie in the cab how to how to pull a semi. So um, get in the pits and take some photos and share them on whatever platform you're on, and just tell people you're having the time of the life. And I'm sure you are, because I hear it from all my fans that they absolutely love it. The only problem is this year they didn't get to do it a whole lot, you know.
Right. But that's part of it. I think that's what we're all living with and trying to figure it out. So, hey, Will, let's wrap this one up. I got about an hour drive home, and it's my daughter's 14th birthday.
Well, Jason, it was good talking to you.
Yeah, but no, we need to do this more often, and we will, okay? Because if we can share, and especially with upcoming polls, because of our different audiences, we can help each other out, grow, and grow more exposure. Because at the end of the day, you and I both want just more fans in the stands and more eyeballs on the sport, and that's why we're doing this.
No photographer wants to take a picture with nobody in the stands,
Yep.
and video never looks good with a few people out. So, that's kind of the last point: is get out there. Promoters, get your polls in as early as possible. Try to beat the sound curfew. Try to keep the fans in the stands. Try to keep the action going smooth. And those Brad Crutkin scrapers are legit. I'm telling you, they kept the show going along so well at the Southern Showdown. It was amazing. But yeah, just be awesome for the sport. Whatever you can do, we would appreciate it. And it's going to make our jobs easier, because we're not selling something that doesn't have nobody in it. We want to see the fans out there.
Yep, but for those of you that are shy and think that you can't do what Will does or what I do, all that you, as a polling team, all you need to do is post on your social media where you're going next and what time it starts and where it's at. That's it. Because you have way more followers than you think. And how the algorithms work, it's going to steer people to those areas by you just simply saying, hey, we're heading to Tanner, Alabama, and that's all you got to say.
Hey, look,
people start asking questions.
I'm just a nerd, okay? I'm just a nerd with 600 plus thousand followers on 4 or 5 different platforms. I mean, it's just, I never knew. That book, "Oh, the Places You'll Go." I never knew.
Yep.
And I'm probably jittering a little bit right now, but I get excited about things, and I'm a very excitable guy. And look, I'm telling you, there's proof on Snapchat and TikTok. I'm telling you, there's proof of me actually enjoying myself, and I do. When I'm out there, I was filming last year. I kid you not. I'm gonna wrap it up with this last point. And some lady says, "Well, when a puller gets down to the end of the track, why does your leg go up?" And I'm like, "Because I kick my leg up sometimes when I'm filming." And I'm like, "Because I'm right there with them. I'm having the time of my life. If I see a good run, I'm right there with them. And so she said, "Well, does it make your videos any better?" And I'm like, "To me, it does, but I'm right there with these pullers, and I love them so much. And I would break bed. I would travel with them. Hotels, we split hotels together. I've even bought hotels for pullers before, because they're so awesome to me. And so just every day, be awesome for whatever you're doing, for your boss, for whatever. But when you for your downtime, for your hobby, be awesome for the sport of tractor pulling and truck pulling, because we need as many champions as possible. And hey, you can be as cool as Jason, and you can be as cool as me, and we're barely trying, but
we're just having fun.
We're just having fun. Yep.
Well, Will, I'm excited to get this done. I'll get this uploaded tonight, and I'll send you a message, let you know. You start sharing it out, and let's start doing this more often, my man. Okay?
Sounds good to me. Hey, good talking to you, Jason Schultz,
Yeah.
beermoney.com.
Be good, buddy.
That will do. All right. Well, that was Beer Money, Jason Schultz. I hope you enjoyed that little live stream. You got to hear it first. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Thanks for tuning in to our YouTube channel. Like I said, you guys are amazing. You guys and gals are absolutely amazing. 75,000 subscribers, uh, from the bottom of my heart. Um, Check out our merch in the tray down here, on polingshirts.com. It's got our stuff. It's got some other stuff that we've drawn for polars, and we're going to be doing more in the off season. But if you want to stay in tune with the events, Facebook, on our Facebook page, we have events, and we list out all of our upcoming events, especially the ones that we're paid to help get the word out about. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. We're going to end it right here. Y'all have a good weekend.